comes up, it's gonna start playing back. So as soon as you can see that it's working, I always go and X out, otherwise you get that feedback of that playing over itself, right? That's all there is to it, my dear. Okay. Let me just okay those. We are recording and live streaming when you are ready, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'd like to call the Human Resources and Public Works Committee to order. Could I get a
Yep.
motion on the agenda, please?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as set.
Support's been moved and supported to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. We have an agenda. Our next item is call to the public. Do we have any online public input coming on?
We do not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Being the case, consider approving, our first item is consider approving the contract with Johnson Hill Land Ethics Studio to serve as a prime professional for Herrick Recreation Area Development Project, ARPA 0174, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. And we have Alexis Hanson, Parks Rec Director, here to give us a lowdown on this item. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Alexis.
So this is the Spark grant that is covering the improvements and renovations at the Herrick Campground. And so the DNR requires us to have a prime professional, which is a qualified landscape architect / engineering firm who helps us with the designs for the project, and then they serve as a liaison between our staff and the subcontractors. They'll do all the permitting for us with our involvement and oversight, and they will take projects out to bid, kind of all the things that are the time-consuming administrative pieces to help us manage the project. So at the close of our RFP, we had received 2 proposals, both of which were qualified. And the one that we're presenting for approval was the lowest bid. They had good qualifications, and they have also completed 2 projects at Coldwater Lake Family Park for our park system within the last 10 years. And we had satisfactory experiences with them both times. So we got a contract from them. It went to county legal counsel. They gave us a different version of a contract that was more fitting to what the county would have liked to see. And the contractor had no issues with it, signed it, and sent it back. So we are just prepared to get approval from the board and move forward with them at this point. One thing I guess I should note is that the cost for this prime professional is covered under the Spark grant. So it's not going to come out of nothing to do with this project will come out of the Parks Fund.
Wow, that's
budget.
great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Okay.
questions?
No, let's go forward.
Yeah, let's go forward. Good,
Get her
good
going.
job.
Exciting. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely exciting. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Consider approving the contract with Johnson Hill Land Ethics Studio to serve as prime professional for Herrick Park Recreation Area Development Project, ARPA 0174, and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 4 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. The motion carries. Item 4 will be forwarded to work and regular sessions of the county commission next week. Okay. Moving on. Our next item is consider approving the purchase of a new Trane IPAC rooftop unit for the courthouse at the approximate cost of $191,141.30, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. We have Steve Schumacher, our facilities director, to give us the information about this item. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As you can see from the staff report, if you remember back in the fall of 22, we had a couple compressors go out of our rooftop unit on the north side of the courthouse. We had contracted RMS refrigeration mechanical services out of Greenville to replace them. They've had nothing but issues with it. The compressors failed. After that week, they put a total of 10 compressors in that last summer trying to get this to work, and we're able to get it to run.
God.
I have been going back and forth with them and getting nowhere. I contacted our legal counsel, hoping maybe a little pressure could sway them. There was no luck there. He suggested I get with our insurance carrier, MMRMA, which I have. I spoke with Train, the manufacturer. That's where I come up with the prices. That's the refurbishing of the unit. For them to come out and do it was more than the purchase of a new unit. I'm sure they're gonna go through it with a fine tooth comb and do everything so that they're not liable for nothing. Is probably why the price is so much more. When I did meet with MMRMA, they suggested that I get with a gentleman from the Nettervelt company. He is a forensic engineer. I just spoke with him yesterday. He's waiting for the
He
temperature.
investigates it.
Mhm.
They dig right into the details of it. So he spoke with me yesterday and said that he wanted to wait for warmer temperatures. He wants to have it in the 60s so he can see better how it runs or what's the issues are. He said, right now, if we did, it'd be like kicking the tires on a car, doing a car inspection. He couldn't deep dive into it. I'm looking at probably the middle of April before he's out with us, but he did assure me, because I've been responding with him quite often, that we're at the top of his list. He hasn't forgotten about us. And we'll wait and see what his findings are. Once he has his findings, we will meet with MMRMA, and there could be a possible claim that MMRMA would pay for.
Great. Good job.
It bothers me a lot that we're in this situation. I don't know what else to do. I've gone down every avenue I can think of, trying to get some resolution, knowing the financial situation the county is in, but I don't see a short-term resolution other than going this route and then hoping we can recoup the money later through another avenue, whether it's through the insurance or through legal or whatever it is. But I can tell you there was a lot of courtrooms last summer that, no lie, were 85 degrees, were extremely uncomfortable. And I know the courts do not want that to happen again, nor do I. I don't see any other reason, any other resolution right now than except for us to purchase it.
Courtrooms and offices, right?
Oh, yeah, it's
I
half the
remember
building.
being over there with box fans going everywhere. I mean, I can't imagine.
I brought in
Check
Hammer
for it.
Restoration last summer. They put in portable air units. We tried to exhaust them into the exhaust with big old ducts. I mean, it looked ugly, but didn't care as long as it worked, and we still couldn't get that courtroom down. So you had, like I said, the whole north half of that building has no air conditioning whatsoever.
Wow.
God, what a mess.
It's been a very trying deal for me to deal with.
He really has tried everything to this end and has tried to get out in front of this season's heat too.
Mhm.
You know, and I fear even if this gets approved and he gets to order it, you know, where he's still gonna be waiting into the.
The lead
into the
time
warm-
could be
into the warm
well
months.
into July or August. I don't know.
Mhm.
And there's no hope this forensic scientist is gonna fix the problem, right? I mean,
Possibly.
okay.
Possibly, because he did make comments about how, Train was talking about looking at this and looking at that, and he goes, I don't know why we gotta do that to get it running. I says, I just want somebody to come out who is a professional and gonna be able to take and deep dive into this and tell me what is the issues causing this and what can we do to fix it. It could be an issue when I find out in the middle of August or April, I'm sorry, that we don't need to purchase a new one. But I'd like to have this set and ready because the lead times on these units
Sure.
are quite long.
Makes sense.
Is
Right.
it something, oh, go ahead.
Seems like they would feel a little bit guilty about this.
I can tell you, I do have an email that was sent to me from the Train dealer where he was asking for the price of a new unit. What would it cost to get a new one in? So in the back of his mind, I'm thinking he realizes they didn't do this right, but when he found out the sticker price, he got shocked and said, there's no way. I even emailed him and said, okay, from this email string, I can see that it's cheaper to buy a new one than try to have them come out and fix it. So I'm assuming you're gonna buy a new unit, and he unequivocally said, no way. Now, he does have liability insurance, and that's why when I went to the attorney, I hope maybe we could press that issue going that way, and I haven't had any success.
Well, hopefully this guy will point us in the right direction now.
What I'm wondering, Commissioner, is if it comes back and we do have a claim, then I think MMRMA will be able to go back on the
Sure.
contractor and we'll be out of it. We'll have our money to pay for the new unit or whatever is
Mhm.
decided,
Mhm.
but then they'll deal with the contractor instead of us.
Yeah, that's great. That would be great.
Steve, is that something that we can order? And then if we find out if there was a fix, we could cancel the order? Do you have any idea on that?
I would have to check into that to see for sure. I mean, we don't have to go a Train. Train makes a good unit,
Mhm.
you know, I mean. There's other manufacturers out there that we could go with. Carrier is another good manufacturing company. That would be something I would have to, when I called it and asked, saying, okay, this is the situation we're in. Is it possible if we find out that we could? I don't know. I don't know how common a unit this is, where they said, yeah, we could find somebody else, take that, no problem. I
Well-
don't know.
The one problem you might get into there is if they're into train, they're gonna wanna stay with train.
Sure,
So by going, looking at a carrier or whatever, they might try to wash their hands of it that way. Hey, you're not even using our product, so. So just be careful there in
Yep.
how you
You know,
word anything and how you, go about switching to a different.
and if we're gonna go with that amount of money, I'm sure it's gonna be an RFB put out. So we're talking probably a month for that to be able to come to fruition before any
Mhm.
decisions can be made. So.
Yep.
And by then, hopefully I have the information from Matt at Netterveld of what he found out. I was happy that he just didn't want to come out and, like you said, kick the tires and say, oh, yeah, you know, he wants to deep dive into it. He wants to find out, and I think that's what we need to do.
Have you taken this approach before?
Pardon me?
The forensic, guy?
I have never.
Mm.
I'm glad you did.
That'll be the final authority, though, I would assume, you know, what could trump that, right?
Yeah, documentation of
Yeah.
stuff, so you,
Yeah,
for claims and all that, right?
yes,
Yep.
I applaud you. I know none of this has gone the way you wanted to, but I applaud you for all the avenues you've tried and exhausted to this end.
Thank
You
you.
did not want to bring this to you
I
guys.
did
but-
not want to bring this to the situation we're in, but I
It
did.
is what it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Pretty
And
important,
keep in mind,
environmental,
it's a
condition.
25-year-old unit, and the one on the south end is a 25-year-old unit. I mean, I've been preaching this for 3 years.
You have,
A
sir.
year after I've been here, that we have a lot of aging equipment and we're on a time clock sooner or later. Yep.
yeah, that was brought out in that energy audit we did too, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I make a motion to consider approving the purchase of a new train IPAC rooftop unit for the courthouse at an approximate cost of $191,141.30 and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same.
support. It's been moved and supported to move item 5 to the work and public, regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. Item 5 will be forwarded to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is announcements. Any announcements?
1 PM, special
Right,
meeting today,
right,
don't
right.
forget.
Okay, and call to the public. Any public?
We still have Court Administrator Curtis and Murph Director Borton, but I do not see their
Hand up.
hands up.
Okay,
this time,
thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, that being the case, I'd like to adjourn the meeting of the Human Resources and Public Works Committee at this time.